Well, another thing I did while I was on holiday was go camping in the Nicola Valley. And that's in the interior of BC. And unlike the coastal forests, which are quite crowded and more dark, the reason we like camping in the interior is because it's desert-like and the soil is very sandy. There's not a lot of nutrients in the soil. So the trees, the forest grows really wide. The trees are really far apart from each other. The main tree is the ponderosa pine. And these are just huge, gentle giants with great girths of shade, but a lot of light is filtered through, and they're really beautiful forests. But a while ago, the ponderosa pines started dying off. One, then another, then another. And soon whole forests were starting to die, not just in the Nicola Valley, but even right across British Columbia, other trees too. And the scientists discovered what the culprit was, a little beetle called the mountain pine beetle. And the way these little guys work is they bore their way right into the main trunk of the tree. And they suck out the phloem, which is kind of like the food for the tree. And then they build their nests in there and eventually take over a tree and kill it. So you'd get these whole forests that were standing, trees still tall and standing, but dead. And then a few years later, they would start to crash over because they didn't have any roots really that were holding them up anymore. So we went hiking a bit up in these forests, and it actually looks like a tree graveyard. The trees are all fallen over, and their big branches reaching up into the sky. But this is the miracle of nature, that what looks like death is often the birthplace of lots of new life. And so first you'd get like the fungi or the lichens growing, and then that feeds. Do you know what feeds on lichen and fungi? Deer. In the winter, especially when food's hard to come by, or smaller like rabbits and things. Then of course the bigger predators feed on the deer and the rabbits, the cougars and the coyotes. And a decaying tree is just a haven for insects of every kind. And of course, insects eat other insects and grubs. And then birds come in to eat those insects. And we even witnessed, and I had read this, that these fallen trees are like highways for squirrels and chipmunks to run along. They can move really quickly across the forest floor, because they have this highway of a tree and they jump from one to the next, and it's so fun to watch them. So it helps to preserve their life and their habitat. And then of course, as the tree completely decomposes, it becomes the soil from which new seedlings start to grow. So it's actually like a banquet table of life in there. Now, here's the thing. As we light our candle this morning, I'm going to give you something big to think about. That the miracle of nature is also the miracle of our faith. That in dying, God gives their life away to feed the world. God gives God's own life away to feed the world. That's the great mystery of our faith. And the banqueting table. What looks like death is actually resurrection in disguise. And it shouldn't surprise us, because creation, of course, is a reflection of the Creator. So they mirror each other in that way. Okay, we need a candle lighter. Anybody wanna? All right, there we go. Is that That's Ben back in there. No, that's Finn. There we go.
Burn the place down. No. Can I? No, you can light it. Light this candle.
Goodness, I shouldn't have given. Off over to the Center for Peace.